Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Awesome Radio on WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. Welcome to another powerful and purposeful edition of Get Life Educational Empowerment. I am your host, Sherida Suggs, principal, educational coach, mentor, and I am so proud to be your partner in purpose-driven leadership. Today is a very special day for me. Today marks the anniversary of my very own graduation from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, May the 12th, 2012. I graduated with my very first master's degree in teaching. Here on Get Life, we believe in growing, inspiring, and leading with faith, excellence, and empowerment. And so, before we step fully into today's very special message, let's take a moment to connect the journey because everything we talked about has been preparing us for this very moment right here. And that includes my graduation. Often in the month of April, we lean into the idea of April showers, not just April showers, the natural rain, but the real life showers, the unexpected moments, the challenges, the pressures, the stress, the frustration, the emotional storms that did not ask permission before they showed up. And we didn't ignore those moments. We leaned right into them. We talked about how showers, while uncomfortable, are very necessary. Yes, they interrupt. Yes, they can inconvenience and they sometimes overwhelm, but they also prepare. They water the ground. They soften what is hard. They make growth possible. And in education, we see that every single day because classrooms are not just filled with lessons, they are filled with lives, students' lives, teachers' lives, leaders' lives. And these lives are growing lives. Families are trusting, communities are watching right along with our students. And in the middle of it all, we made a commitment this past month of April. We chose to let it rain positivity. We chose to shower grace, to extend patience, to lead with love, to replace criticism with encouragement, to replace division with collaboration, to replace frustration with purpose. Because we understand something powerful. What we pour determines what we grow. And then we took it even deeper. We talked about operating in the fruits of the Spirit, even when life gets difficult, because it's easy to be kind when everything's going well. It's easy to be patient when nothing is being patient. It's easy to have joy when there's no pressure. But as New Edition reminded us, everybody loves sunshine. But can you stand the rain? Because real character shows up in the storm. Real growth happens under pressure, and real fruit is produced when it is not easy. So, we also asked ourselves, are we producing love in hard moments? Are we showing patience under pressure? Are we choosing peace when things feel chaotic? Are we walking in self control when emotions rise? Because fruit doesn't grow overnight. It grows through consistent watering, through intentional care, through both sunshine and rain. And that brings us right here to May. Because if April was the season of showers, then May is the season of flowers. And today is special. Not only does it mark the anniversary of my graduation, but also we want to remember that while flowers bloom in gardens, there are some flowers that are walking our hallways every single day. There are some flowers singing classrooms. There are some flowers showing up early, staying late, pouring endlessly, and giving selflessly. And those flowers are our teachers. And this is our special edition of Teacher Appreciation. at a time where we pause, not just to acknowledge, but to truly see the impact. Because teachers don't just teach lessons, they build confidence, they create spaces, they speak life into students who may not hear it anywhere else. They plant seeds that they may never get to see grow. They show up on the hard days. They push through the storms. They operate in patience when tested. They extend grace when it is not returned sometimes. They love, lead, guide, and uplift day after day. So today, we are doing more than just talking about flowers. We are giving teachers their flowers because they truly deserve it right now and later. Not just when it's convenient, but every day. And in this moment, while they are still pouring, still showing up, still making a difference, we are going to give them their flowers because they are the flowers. Here's the real truth. April showers didn't just produce flowers, they revealed them. They showed us who kept growing anyway, who kept pouring anyway, who kept showing up anyway. And that is our educators, our teachers. So today's conversation is rooted in gratitude, rooted in recognition, rooted in honor, because we truly understand the journey, the rain, the growth, the fruit. We can't help but celebrate the bloom. So today, teachers, this is for you. You have definitely earned your flowers. We are celebrating, uplifting, empowering, and honoring the very heart of education, our teachers. All right, now let's go ahead and keep it all the way real for the next few minutes because this part right here, this isn't just radio. This is recognition. This is honor, honor that is long overdue. We are talking about why we truly need to celebrate our teachers, why we need to let them know that they are seen, not just during Teacher Appreciation Week, not just when it's trending, not just when it's convenient, but consistently, intentionally, and unapologetically. Because the truth is, teachers are some of the most powerful, under-celebrated people walking this earth. And if we're honest, we don't always give them the flowers that they deserve. So today we're fixing that. Let's start here. Let's start now. Teachers are like roses, beautiful, strong, and admired. But let's not forget roses come with thorns. And those thorns, that's the boundary setting. That's the discipline. That's the structure. That is the no, you can't do that. And the yes, you will rise to this expectation. And the yes, we believe in you, but we do hold you accountable for your behavior. Because a good teacher doesn't just make students feel comfortable, they help students to grow. And growth can sometimes feel uncomfortable. Growth can prick a little, even when it's challenging, even with the challenging attitudes, the challenging habits, the challenging mindsets. Teachers are often admired for their beauty, but sometimes people forget what it takes to maintain that beauty. The early mornings, the late nights, the lesson planning, the misunderstandings, the emotional labor, the constant pouring, the missing your family, the not attending to your own children because you are pouring into someone else's child that you love as your own. That is a rose. And our teachers are just like roses, thorns and all. So while we give teachers their flowers, we have to also remember that teachers are the flowers. Now let's talk about sunflowers because teachers are absolutely just that. Always turning toward the light, always looking on the bright side, even when everything around them feels heavy. Sunflowers don't just find light, they follow it. And that's what teachers do. They walk into classrooms with students carrying real life weight, stress, trauma, uncertainty, situations, and somehow, some way, they still find a way to bring a light into that space. Teachers bring energy, teachers bring warmth, teachers bring hope. And even more powerful, they teach students how to find the light for themselves. That, my friends, is not in a textbook. That, my friends, is relationship. That, my friends, is social, emotional health and awareness. That, my friends, is a work of heart. Oh, and we cannot forget the lilies because he just operate with the quiet strength that doesn't always get noticed. Lilies don't scream for attention. They don't demand the spotlight, but their presence, it changes the entire atmosphere. And that is a teacher. They may not always be the loudest voice in the room, but they are often the most impactful. They're calm in the chaos. They are steady in uncertainty. They are peace in the pressure. And let's be real, some classrooms, some days, some situations, you need that type of presence. You need someone grounded. You need someone who knows how to respond instead of react. That's a teacher. That's a lily. Now, let's go a little deeper. Teachers are like orchids too. They are unique. They are delicate in appearance, but incredibly resilient because orchids require specific care to thrive. And teaching, it is not one size fits all. Every student is different. Every classroom is different. Every school is different. Environments are different. Every day is different, and teachers are constantly adjusting. Teachers are the epitome of flexibility, constantly adjusting, constantly adapting, constantly finding new ways to reach students who learn differently, who think differently, who live and operate differently. That, my friends, takes skill, that takes patience, that takes kindness, that takes creativity, that takes commitment, that takes an orchid. And let's not overlook that dandelion. No, I know someone just said, now, wait a minute, a dandelion. Absolutely. Yes, a dandelion. Because dandelions grow anywhere. Concrete, hard places, rocks, places where no one expected growth. And that's what teachers do. They reach students in difficult places. They show up in environments that are not always ideal. They plant seeds in minds that may have been counted out. They grow impact in places that others overlook. And even more beautiful, when dandelions release their seeds, they spread. That is legacy. That is influence. And that is a teacher. So when we say teachers deserve their flowers, we're not just being cute, we're being accurate because teachers embody everything flowers represent: growth, beauty, resilience, survival, purpose, transformation, thriving, oxygen. And let me say this part real clearly: teaching is not just a job, it is emotional labor. It is mental investment. It is spiritual pouring because you don't just teach content. You teach confidence. You teach resilience. You teach self worth. You teach possibility. You teach responsibility. You teach positivity. And sometimes you're teaching students how to survive every single day. We live in a time where expectations for teachers are high, but appreciation not always so high. We expect excellence, but don't always extend the grace. We want results, but we often forget the process. We celebrate outcomes, but overlook the effort. And that has to shift because you cannot continuously pour out of people without pouring back into them. You cannot expect growth without watering the ones that do the planting. You cannot demand fruit without caring for the hands that are tending the garden. And that is real. So, what does celebrating teachers actually look like? It looks like respect, not just in words, but in actions. It looks like communication, respectful communication. It looks like support from our administration, from families, from parents, from community members. It looks like building trust, trusting their professionalism, trusting their preparation, trusting their calling, trusting their purpose, trusting the God that works through them and the God that looks upon them and your children. It looks like encouragement, speaking life, not just critique. It looks like partnership, understanding that education is a team effort. And yes, it looks like saying thank you and truly meaning it. Because let me tell you something that is truly powerful. There are adults walking around right now, successful, confident, successfully driven, because somewhere along the way, a teacher saw something in them. A teacher spoke life into them. A teacher refused to give up on them. A teacher planted a seed that is still growing. That is impact. That is legacy. And that is why we celebrate. So today, as we honor our unsung heroes, let's not make this just a moment. Let's make this a lifestyle. Let's make this a mindset. Let's make this continuous, not just on Teacher Appreciation Week. You see, there's a reason why I did this broadcast the week after Teacher Appreciation Week. It is because teacher appreciation is continual. Teacher appreciation is every day. Let's give teachers their flowers while they can smell them. Let's acknowledge their impact while they're still in the work. Let's uplift them while they're still pouring. Because just like flowers, teachers help make the world more beautiful. Teachers are beautiful. Teachers are vibrant. Teachers are alive, just like our beautiful flowers. So, to every teacher listening, we see you, we appreciate you, we honor you. And today, we give you your flowers because you are the flower. You are listening to Get Life Educational Empowerment on the Awesome Radio Network. When we return, we're going to talk about teaching as a profession and the history of how this profession began. Don't you dare go anywhere. We'll be back. Welcome back to Get Life Educational Empowerment on the Awesome Radio Network. I am your host, Sherida Suggs, and I am so pleased that you have chosen to spend this moment with me. If you would like to be a guest on our show, you are certainly welcome to do so. Please be sure to send me an email at getlifeempowerment@gmail.com. That is GITLIFE empowerment at gmail.com. You may also call the Awesome Radio station and leave a message at 252-756-2008. All right, now, before we get into the celebration, let's start with a get life, keeping it all the way real moment because you can't truly appreciate teachers without truly understanding what they're up against. Now, here's the truth: grounded, responsible, professional, and real. Teachers are not the lowest paid professionals across every field, but they are consistently paid less than many other careers that require similar levels of education, certification, and responsibility. And that gap, it's been documented for decades. Teachers are often underestimated and underlooked, also underappreciated. Now, I mentioned before how today's a very special anniversary for me. And let me tell you why it is so special. Because I entered into a teaching fellows program in 2009. I got accepted, and on my first day of school, I received a phone call that alerted me that my grant that would have given me a full scholarship had been canceled. I was faced with a difficult choice to make. Am I going to continue with my education and get this master's degree without the grant, a master's degree that I thought I would never achieve, or am I going to quit? Continuing my education would mean that I would have to take out a loan in order to get this degree. All odds were against me, but I decided that I would take out this loan rather than getting a fully loaded scholarship in order to achieve my first master's degree. Therefore, I did. So, when I walked that stage on May the 12th, 2012, not only did I walk the stage and receive my first master's degree, but also Michelle Obama spoke at my commencement and she received her honorary doctorate degree from North Carolina A&T State University. This is very special to me to have my very own child to see Michelle Obama and to see her mother graduate. And now I am very proud to say that she is also a student at North Carolina A&T State University. Aggie pride. I say all that to say that I am still paying off that debt. So with the required education and certifications that we have to achieve, there is also a debt to pay that comes with that. We're talking about professionals who often hold bachelor's degree, many with master's degree, certifications, ongoing professional development, and yet you compare that salary across the industries, teachers frequently earn less than peers in fields like businesses, technology, healthcare, requiring similar credentials. And let me add this. I was one of the last teachers in the group that was able to get master's education pay. Had I waited to become a teacher a year later, I would not be getting that master's degree pay. Thank God. But that says a lot for teachers who are continuing to go to school for their master's degree, but are not getting that master's degree pay. I hope that somewhere along the way that this has changed. And here's another truth that people don't always understand. Teaching is one of the few professions where the work doesn't stop, but the pay does. Most teachers are contracted for the school year, while some districts spread checks across 12 months. That money is still based on a 10-month contract. What this means is that teachers get paid for 10 months of the year, not 12 months. So when summer comes, that is not extra pay. That is your same 10-month salary. It's just being stretched, which means that teachers have to take out chunks of money each month during the 10 months that they are working so that they can take care of themselves over the summer. And many teachers have to get summer jobs. Again, teachers have to get sometimes 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet. That is some real talk. Now, let's add some historical context to this because this doesn't just happen overnight. In early American history, during the colonial period, teaching was actually primarily a male profession, especially in formal schooling. However, in the 19th century, things began to shift as public education expanded, particularly in the 1800s. There was a major push to hire more teachers, and women were recruited in large numbers. Why? Because they could be paid less, because they were the mothers, they were the nurses. Society viewed them as natural caregivers, responsible for nurturing, maintaining the home, and raising children. Teaching was seen as an extension of those roles. Women were paid significantly lower wages than men, sometimes half as much as what men were getting paid for doing the same job. Education reformers like Horace Mann supported hiring women in schools because it made extending the education system more affordable. At the same time, trailblazers like Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Sojourner Truth were fighting for women's rights, including fair wages and access to professions. Progress was made, doors open, but the compensation structures, they didn't rise at the same pace. We are still fighting this fight to this very day. As more men eventually entered the profession again, wages did increase somewhat, but teaching had already been culturally and structurally positioned as lower paying care work. And that is a stronghold. That is suppression. That is oppression. It still lingers. So fast forward to today. Salary schedules are public, transparent. And when you look closely, you will often see that some teachers are receiving raises over time, but those increases can be modest, especially when compared to rising living costs, rising gas costs, or salary growth in other professions. Veteran teachers, those with years of experience, such as myself, those with wisdom and impact, don't always see the kind of financial growth that matches their contributions. And that is not just teachers, that is across education. That includes administrators as well. Now, let's balance this truth with clarity and responsibility. Yes, there are challenges in education. Yes, there are moments that make headlines. Yes, there are situations that deserve accountability, but that is not the full story. That is not every school. That is not every classroom. That is not every teacher. That is not every leader. Because for every negative headline that you see regarding education and teachers, there are thousands of educators showing up every single day, doing the work, caring for our scholars, pouring into our scholars, believing in our scholars, making things happen for our scholars, making the difference in the lives of our scholars without recognition. And now it's time to recognize this every single day. That is why Get Life truly supports that parent, school, and community partnership. That umbrella. That is my heart's cry. We have to come together to support our scholars, teachers, and staff, teachers and parents, teachers and parents. We all have to work together for the good of the students because the students, they are our future. And this right here, this is where Get Life Empowerment steps in because this platform exists to shift that narrative, to uplift, encourage, empower. Because I've been there. I know the classroom. I know the long nights. I know the emotional investment. I know what it means to carry not just content, but children. And it is my heart's work to pour back into the very people who pour into others every single day. So when we say we need to celebrate teachers, it's because our teachers need to be celebrated. It's not just because they deserve it, because they absolutely do. But it's because celebration is a form of restoration. It's a form of fuel. It's a form of empowerment. This appreciation that we show them, it is reminding them that they matter. And when you understand the history, when you understand the sacrifice, when you understand the choices, when you understand the decisions to pour into our students, our scholars, which is our future, when you understand the reality behind the role, you realize that this isn't optional. This is necessary. So now we celebrate. Tomorrow we celebrate. We continue to celebrate. We continue to support. We continue to uplift. We continue to outpour because despite the challenges, despite the gap, despite the misconceptions, teachers are still showing up like roses, like sunflowers, like lilies, like orchids, and even the dandelions blowing in the wind, growing, pouring, blooming. And that is exactly why we give them their flowers, because they are the flowers. They are the gifts. They are the prizes. Educators are the VIPs and they pour into VIPs. Stay right there. We'll be right there. We'll be right back. We are celebrating teachers on the Get Life Education broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay right there. Hey, 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 welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You are still locked in to the Awesome Radio Network on WECU 107.5 FM and 1570 AM. And this is Get Life Educational Empowerment with your host, Sherida Suggs, a supporter and advocate of teachers, a supporter and advocate of educational empowerment, a supporter and advocate for the umbrella, the partnership, the working together, the positivity. Now, listen, if you're just joining us, you picked the right time because we're in the middle of something special. We are not just talking about teachers, we are honoring them, we are uplifting them, we are watering them. And let me say this right out the gate as we come back from this break. Who said appreciation has an expiration date? Who decided that once the calendar flips, the gratitude stops? Who made that rule that Teacher Appreciation Week is just that, a week? Oh, no, ma'am. Oh, no, sir. Not over here. Not at Get Life Educational Empowerment, because the Get Life way says if something is valuable to you, you keep pouring into it. If something is valuable to you, you keep taking care of it. If something is valuable to you, you keep tending to it. If something is growing, you keep watering it. If something is life giving, you keep nurturing it. And for our teachers, and for our flowers, and for our roses, and for our lilies, and for our orchids, and for our dandelions, they are all that more and then some. So, no, we are not done celebrating. We are just getting started. Now, let's lean into this image together. April showers. Yeah, we talked about it. The rain, the pressure, the stretching, the growing. And now we are in May. And what do we see? We see those flowers because April showers bring what? Mayflowers. We see blooming, we see standing tall, adding beauty to spaces that once looked bare. That's our teachers. That's the part that we don't always say out loud. Flowers don't bloom without consistent care. You can't water a plant one time and expect it to thrive forever. You can't show love once and expect sustainability. You can't give appreciation once a year and think that's enough for people who pour daily, who outpour daily. So if teachers are our flowers, which they are, then what does that make us? That makes us the caregivers. That makes us the waterers. That makes us the sunlight. We are the environment. We are the support system that determines whether they simply survive or truly thrive. And here is where it gets really powerful because we've already talked about operating in the fruits of the spirits. Remember that love. Remember that joy. Remember that peace, that patience, that kindness, that goodness, faithfulness, that gentleness, that self control. Now imagine this. What if we don't just expect teachers to operate in those fruits? What if we, as the schools, as the parents, as the families, the community members, the staff members, the administrators, what if we all operated in those fruit together with and towards our teachers? That changes everything. That shifts the entire culture. That waters the soil differently. So let's make this thing practical. Let's talk about tangible ways, real ways, everyday ways that we can continue honoring our teachers because appreciation is not just a feeling, it's an action. Let's start with schools because leadership matters. School leaders, administrators, districts. This is where it begins. Honoring teachers can be creating an environment of respect, not just top down decisions, but inclusive conversations, taking time to listen, taking time to care. Let teachers have a voice, let them be heard, let them also be held accountable, just like we hold our students accountable. But let them be understood because nothing drains a professional faster than feeling invisible. It looks like protecting their time. Every meeting doesn't need to be a meeting. Some meetings can be an email, and every email doesn't need urgency. Give teachers space and time to plan, to breathe, to reset. Remember that our flowers are also human. That's not laziness, that is sustainability. It looks like recognizing efforts, not just the outcomes, celebrating those small wins. A teacher reaching a difficult student, a classroom turnaround, a moment of breakthrough. Don't wait for those test scores to say good job. Say it when you see the work that is put in. It looks like covering our teachers. It looks like praying for them. Sometimes that means stepping in, covering a classroom when a teacher needs someone to cover their class. Sometimes it means grace. Sometimes it means supportive discipline. Sometimes it means trusting their professional judgment. When teachers feel supported, they show up stronger. When teachers feel appreciated, they show appreciation. Now, let's move to families because partnership, oh my goodness, it is so important. Parents, guardians, this part right here matters more than you think. Honoring teachers can look like speaking a life about them at home, trusting their professionalism, communicating, asking questions, because children, remember, they mirror what they hear. So when you speak negativity about a teacher, those children, they hear it and they go to school and they act on it. But when they hear respect, they show respect. If they hear negativity, they carry it right into the classroom. So build that positive relationship. It looks like communication with grace. Yes, do advocate for your child, absolutely, but do it with respect. Do it with curiosity. Do it with questioning. Do it with seeking first to understand, then being understood. Do it with knowing that teachers care for your students because that teacher is not against you. They are for your child, they are for your scholar's success, they are for their thriving. It looks like reinforcing learning at home. Education does not stop when the bell rings. Support homework, support studying, support reading 20 minutes a night. Respect your students asking questions when they don't understand the content. Tell them to be sure to ask questions in class and then help them to complete that research at home. Give them real world situations at home. Let the teachers know, hey, I'm with you. And sometimes it looks like something simple, something like a thank you note, a kind message, a moment of acknowledgement. You would be amazed at how far that goes. Now, let's talk about the community because it truly takes all of us. Remember, we are the village, our businesses, our churches, our organizations, our neighborhoods. Honoring teachers looks like partnering with the schools. We're at a time where we need proctors for end of grade testing. Be a proctor, volunteer, mentor, but please be positive. Donating time, resources, encouragement. Teacher appreciation from the community looks like providing real support, like discounts for teachers, sponsorships, donating to the schools, meals, care packages. Yes, it all matters because it says we see you beyond the classroom. It looks like changing the entire narrative, not amplifying the negative, but highlighting the good, celebrating educators publicly, posting positive things about education, teachers, schools. Share impactful stories because what we amplify, it truly does shake perception. And here is one more powerful piece. Community members, it looks like trusting educators as as the professionals that they are. They are trained, educated, committed individuals. So let's treat them like that. Now, let's bring this all together because this is bigger than just appreciation. This is acknowledgement. This is alignment. When schools, families, and communities all decide that we're going to operate in the fruits of the spirits with each other, that creates something powerful. That creates a culture where students feel love, where teachers feel supported, where teachers feel respected, where teachers feel valued, and when teachers feel that, the students benefit, schools thrive, communities grow stronger. So today, we're not just raining positivity, we are intentional about it. We are pouring love on purpose. We are extending grace on purpose. We are speaking life on purpose because our teachers, they have been doing it all along. So again, I ask you, who says that we have to stop honoring teachers after Teacher Appreciation Week? Not us, not here, not Get Life Educational Empowerment because teachers they deserve it every single day because flowers don't stop needing water. Even in the winter time, they still need their water. And teachers, they don't stop needing support. So, to every teacher listening, this is your reminder. You are loved. You are supported. You are seen. You are acknowledged. You are valued. You are needed. You are appreciated. Not just last week, but this week, next week, the week after that, every week. And to everyone else who is listening, let's do our part to show them. Let's water them. Let's water who matters. Let's honor what's growing. Let's water what's growing. Let's protect what's pouring. Because when we take care of our teachers, we are taking care of our future. So now, if you're saying, I want to show appreciation, I feel it in my heart, but I just don't know what to do. Listen, you're not alone. A lot of people want to give, they just need direction. So we're going to make this simple, practical, and full of heart because honoring teachers does not have to be complicated or expensive. It just needs to be intentional. So let me just start with this. The most powerful gifts are not always the biggest gifts. They are the most thoughtful gifts. The ones that say, I see you, I notice you, I appreciate you, I support you. So let me make this personal for a moment. I remember a parent who brought me a box of black pens. Now, somebody might say pens. Yes, pens, because that parent noticed me. They knew that was what I was needed. She noticed that I always use black pens, and she noticed that I was always looking for my pen. And so for Teacher Appreciation Week, she brought me a box of black pens. And that meant a lot to me. I had another parent who gifted me a beautiful beige bag. It was stylish and practical because she noticed that I carried a lot. Papers, materials, pens, responsibilities. And what blessed me about that gift was not just the bag, it was what it represented. She acknowledged the weight that teachers carry. And instead of just saying it, she honored it. That was powerful. So if you're wondering, what can I give? Let's talk about it. You can do a personalized everyday essential like notebooks, sticky notes, planners, supplies, thumbtacks. You can make it personal. Ask a teacher what their favorite color is. Ask them what their favorite brand is. Gift cards. Gift cards make life so much easier. Every teacher loves Starbucks or some type of local restaurant. Every teacher needs gas. You're not just giving a gas card, you're giving that teacher some fuel, some relief. Classroom support gifts are amazing, like tissue, sanitizer, snacks for students, supplies. You are enlightening and lightening their load in real time. Now, let's think about self care. As May is Mental Health Awareness Month, self care gifts are amazing for teachers. Candles, journals, relaxation kits. Because teachers pour out all day, they need moments to pour back into themselves. Oh, and even though we don't just survive, but we thrive, A survival kit still can be helpful for a teacher, especially for the testing season with EOGs coming around the bend. Hey, this can be something big. Put together a small kit with snacks, mints, tea, encouraging notes, water. Call it the You've Got This kit because pressure is real during that time and your support truly matters. Help the teachers to see and understand that you understand. Now, here's the key question: how do I even know what my child's teacher likes? Well, that's a great question, and I am glad to be here to help you with that. Pay attention. Teachers drop hints all the time. Their favorite colors, their favorite snacks, where they graduated from. Hint, hint, North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, the blue and the gold. Now, just like the parent noticed my black pen, you can notice things like that too. Or you could ask your child. You would be surprised about the things that your child can pick up. What is your teacher like? What do you see them always eating? What do you see them always with? What makes them smile? Students are watching more than we think, and it really brings some great joy to a student to take part in those positive things. You can send a simple message. You can simply send an email. You can send a written note. Hey, I'd love to show appreciation. Are there any small things that you'd like or you would enjoy? Trust me, teachers will appreciate the thought alone. And many times you would probably get that as a response. Oh, it's okay. You don't have to get me anything. Just the thought alone matters. Or you may get that teacher that will keep it real and tell you because they know that they are very well deserving, just like you are parents on Mother's Day and on Father's Day. Sometimes schools have favorite lists or ideas. You can simply call the front office. Many times, teachers have filled out a list of things that the bookkeeper may hold. And you can call that bookkeeper and ask them. Use your resources. Don't ever tie your hands. Let's dig a little deeper. Because here's the truth. It's not always about the money. It's not always about the tangible things. Let me say this: it can be about how you simply treat the teacher. You can literally send an email. Thank you for showing up for my child. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for not giving up. A simple handwritten note every day. Just tell little Alex, tell a Shinkashay, give this note to your teacher and let that teacher open up that note every day. Thank you for what you do for my child. Thank you for the this or the that you did for my student. Do you know what that would do to a teacher's heart? It can restore that teacher. It can encourage that teacher. It can remind them that what they do matters. Imagine if you choose to send a teacher a nice, kind note every week until the beginning of the year, or every other day until the beginning of the year. Imagine what that would really do for that teacher, how it can push and empower them. And let me gently say this too: if there has been tension, if the relationship hasn't been perfect, if there have been misunderstandings, this is your opportunity to dig deep, to lead with grace, to operate in the fruits of the Spirit, operate in forgiveness, offer a moment of restoration, because that is what partnership is about. That is growth. That is getting it together. That is living in full expectancy. And I have seen this done beautifully. I have done it before. I have had a parent that has given her time rather than a gift. She showed up, she supported, and that spoke volumes. I had another parent, along with her son and his cousin, created a poster for me during Teacher Appreciation Week. It was handmade, it was heartfelt, it was presented with pride, and it was a pleasant surprise. It meant just as much, if not more, than anything that money could buy. So just imagine if teachers receive that type of love, that type of appreciation, intentionality, not just for 1 week, but for the remainder of the school year, especially right now with testing season approaching. EOG's around the corner, pressure building, expectations rising. Imagine what that would do for their morale. Imagine what that would do for energy. Imagine how it would make you feel putting a smile on someone's face. But we don't have to imagine it. We can make it happen. We can rain positivity. We can water our flowers. We can pour into the very teachers that pour into our scholars every single day, not just with words, but with actions, but with deeds, but with thoughtfulness, but with intention. Because when teachers feel encouraged, they show up empowered. When teachers feel supported, they stay motivated. And when teachers are uplifted, students win. So let's do it. Let us pray for our teachers. Heavenly Father, today we pause with humble and grateful hearts and pray for our teachers. Lord, thank you for every educator who has committed their lives to guiding, nurturing, teaching, encouraging, and believing in others. Thank you for the sacrifices they make that often go unseen, the extra hours that no one notices, the prayers they whisper for students, and the love they pour into classrooms every day. Father, strengthen our teachers. When they are tired, give them strength. When they are discouraged, uplift them. When they are overwhelmed, give them peace. Cover them with patience, wisdom, and grace. Help them to continue operating in the fruits of the Spirit, that love, joy, peace, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. Dear God, we thank you. We thank you for our flowers. We thank you for allowing us to be able to pour onto those that pour into our children. Lord, we ask you to protect their hearts, their minds from burnout and frustration. Restore their passion daily and remind them that every seed they plant matters. We pray for unity between the schools, families, and communities. Teach us all how to better support each other, how to honor, encourage, and appreciate educators who help shape the future. And Father, help us to never take our teachers for granted and forgive us for doing so when we did. Help us to continue to speak life into them, even past Teacher Appreciation Week. Help us to pour into those who constantly pour into others. Help every teacher listening today. Bless those that are not listening. Help this message to reach them with the good deeds that we would do to and for them. Bless their homes, bless their families, bless their children, bless their scholars, and may they always know that they are valued, appreciated, supported, and deeply needed. And it is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Supporting teachers isn't about educational responsibility. It is a community response. Teachers cannot carry the weight of shaping students alone. It takes schools, families, community members, churches, mentors, business leaders, neighborhoods. It takes everybody. And this is the essence of Get Life, that partnership, that purpose, that positivity, that empowerment. Because when we truly grow, inspire, teach, and lead together, we create environments where everyone thrives. The students, the educators, staff, community, parents, families. Teacher appreciation is not about perfection. It's not about something tangible. It's simply about recognition. It is simply about honoring. It is simply about noticing, recognizing the early mornings, recognizing the emotional labor, the patience, the long suffering, the love educators continue to give, even in difficult seasons. And if we're honest, teachers need pouring into as well. They need that encouragement. They need that support. They need that grace. And that is why Get Life Educational Empowerment is here to empower, to uplift, to restore, to strengthen the hearts of educators and the communities connected to them. So let us continue to pour into our teachers. Let's continue to pour on our teachers. Let's continue to encourage our schools. Let us continue to strengthen that partnership, because appreciation may begin with words, but true empowerment is revealed through actions. I am your host, Sherida Suggs, and this has been Get Life Educational Empowerment on the Alta Radio Network. I invite you to tune in every Tuesday from 3 to 4 p.m. as we explore real experiences from today's schools, families, communities. Until next time, now and forever, let's get it together, live in full expectancy, empower education. Thank you for joining us.